Welcome to Readings with Evangelist Linda Coleman. Let's allow her to take us on a spiritual journey with these amazing books that she has found. So take a deep breath, grab a healthy snack, and let's relax and listen in.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Good Reads with Evangelist Linda Coleman. I am just one of your favorite evangelists, and I am so glad that you've tuned in again with me one more time to find out what we're reading and what's going on tonight. You know, we've been reading from Sister Michelle Drew's book, Love Made Me Wait, right? And I promised you that she would be here with us so we could talk to her, get up close and personal with her for a while, find out what stirred up her spirit to share her story with us. And I am so glad to introduce to you a young lady from a small little town in Texas, from Sweetney, Texas, none other than our author, Miss Michelle Drew. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Good Reads, my dear. How are you today?
I am great, and thank you so much for having me.
We are so glad to have you with us, and I know our audience and followers are excited about meeting you up close and personal tonight. You know, so you want to give them just a little info about who is Michelle Drew, other than the fact that they know you're from Texas, girl.
Michelle Drew is, let's say, personal. I am a mother of three sons.
Okay.
I'm a mother of three adult sons, Gary, Garrett, and Anthony. Those are my babies. I am the oldest of four children. Let's see what else. I love God, and I'm excited about being here.
Hey, well, that's a good one. We've been definitely really focusing in on your story, and we're glad that that you decided to share it with us, because a lot of times people who have gone through some of the things you've gone through are not willing to let people know, or they want to keep it personal. That's my story and I'm gonna leave it alone. But I see something stirred you up. You want to share with us what stirred you up to share this from just the beginning?
I've been writing for a long time. As you can see, the story goes back several years. And so I journal a lot. And
Okay.
so I was journaling, and actually the Lord told me I had to finish it. So I went through a process. Well, he shut down my life and told me I had to finish it. It was something that I had to do. But in writing the book, I really believe that it brought healing to some areas where I was still struggling. So that was one of the reasons why I had to do it.
So really it was for not just our healing, but your healing as well. I know
Absolutely.
I know in certain parts of the story, as we read, as I was reading, I did see you say that I went back over my journal and I looked back at some things and went like, oh my God, where was I? What was what was I thinking? And where is God? You know. and Pastor Piggy's and I, as we were listening to the your story, one of the chapter where it says when God is silent. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, I think all of us in one way or another has felt that sometimes God just don't answer us. We wonder if he is there.
That is, I believe, especially being a Christian, we're taught that, when we pray, that God is going to answer. But I think we have an unrealistic expectation that he's going to show up immediately. And what God has taught me, what he taught me in that book and throughout my life during that process, that he was teaching me some things while I was waiting.
Okay.
And he didn't give me what I wanted. He's a good father. he teaches us just like a parent. And so he was teaching me some things, not only about myself, but about other people and about my relationship with him. And I literally had temper tantrums at times. I would get mad, and I would be like, you know what, I'm not going to pray, I'm not going to talk to you because you're not answering me. But I realized that what he was doing, he was teaching me patience. That was one of the things that he was teaching me. And he wanted me to be able to see myself. So oftentimes we want to be able to see other people. But I know that what God was doing is he was showing me myself at that time.
And that is amazing. I love the way you put that, because I just had an incident not too long ago with one of my patients at the hospital, and we were blaming her for getting up late. And the girl brought her, one of the other patients brought her a message that, and she said, well, Miss Linda says if you want to come, you can come, and if you don't want to come, you don't have to. But the other caretaker had already instructed them that whenever I'm there, they're supposed to get up, period. So she chose not to get up, so she got across, cross messages. And then when she did get up, I'm trying to make a long story short, they kind of like got on her case about not coming into the room. And when I shared it with somebody, with my family, they said, oh, you did that. You caused the confusion. And I really had to look at my part that I played in it. And I think that's what you're saying. Sometimes when we don't hear God answer us right away, it's because we're too busy looking at everybody else and not really looking at where we are. And when they brought it to my attention the next day, I apologized to the young lady and told her, I'm so sorry, that you got the message all mixed up. It was all my fault, and I'll try my best not to do that again. But only God can do that with you, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He teaches good lessons. He really, really does. He's a good teacher. And, during that time when he was teaching me those things about myself, um, there was so much that was down on the inside of me. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there was so much that he was trying to do with me, with Michelle. And I tell people now, this person that I am is the best version of Michelle that I've ever been. And it was because of that season that I experienced with God. Those times I I don't think that I would have had the relationship that I have with God now had I not experienced that.
Yeah, you're right. You're very right. For those of you that have been listening to the story, Love Made Me Wait, you need to know that we're talking about a time that Sister Michelle and her husband, whom you just knew that was the right one, and my God, he
Yeah,
was treating you so sweet, and I mean all the things that we as women think we should get, and then all the clear blue sky. Oh my God, that just had to just like pulling the rug from underneath your feet. He told her he was going to go spend the weekend with his outside lady, and then he didn't come back for a while. And girlfriend, y'all know how we act, and we always responded to that. Oh my God, Michelle, how did you do that? But what was amazing to us, to me anyway, I says, you know what? They never pick something like they got at home.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, they always get the opposite. And she was nothing like me at all. But as you read the book, you see that the Lord made me even realize that she was in pain. She was experiencing some things in her own life. And so oftentimes we look at people at the behavior, but we don't look at the root cause of what's really happening. There's a reason why people respond or do some things that they do. And she was in pain herself, and the Lord let me know that. As you can see in the book, even though I say she was nothing like me, I don't bash her. As a
Right.
woman, I didn't do that at all. I didn't um, tear her down what she did. Of course, it was the wrong thing. But the Lord let me know she had experienced rejection before. She was in a lot of pain. She was a broken woman, and she also needed to be healed. And that's the reason why she did what she did.
You know what else I really liked about what you did in that same chapter? Y'all need to know this because I kind of went there. When you change your life, let me say this to the audience. When you change your life and you started getting to know more and more about Christ and have a more intimate relationship with Him, you begin to understand why people do some of the things they do. And Sister Drew didn't put her husband as well. Of course, she was hurt and everything, but as well, you knew it wasn't him; it was the enemy that blinded him. Girl, I said, look at this woman of God here. Woo!
That,
That was
that's what
awesome.
happens when maturity comes, when you grow up and you mature, and when God has really done some things with you. Because, as again, I didn't bash him in the book, and I tell people even now when I talk about the marriage, when I was married, when I say it was good, when it was good, it was really, really good. I mean, there was nothing that I could ask him for that he would not give me. Um, that man loved me when he loved me. He really, really did. And that's why I didn't tear him down in the book. What happened was, it can happen to any of us.
Any of
Sin.
us, yeah.
Sin
Hmm.
will destroy your life. We
Yes.
don't realize that we get it's bondage. And that's what happens. And you get caught up. And before you know it, you've gone too far and you don't know how to get back.
But y'all, I'm telling y'all got to read that chapter. I think it's in Battered, Bruised, and Broken or somewhere up in there in that area. Man, the sister was sharing that, and I really thought I felt close to you at that time because I've been separated from my husband. We have been together like 38 years, and yeah,
Wow.
you know, and I couldn't understand that first either. I was fussing with the Lord and everything. And like, what are you doing? And blah blah blah. And you're not. And I know what it means when He ain't answering you right away and stuff.
Yes.
But you're right. Once we get that relationship with God, and God says it's not Him, it's the enemy that is pulling him, and he's blind. No matter. And mine was a man of God as well. Had own church
Yes.
and thing, but it just shows you that none of us are beyond the point of being tempted by the enemy and easily fooled by sin.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we have to pray. We really, really do, and we have to be on guard. And even when we do that, the devil is relentless. He keeps coming back. He does not. He does not give up. I think about when he went to go tempt Jesus. The Bible says that he said he left him for a season. He's going to always come back. He does not give up. He is constantly walking, looking for somebody that he can destroy or somebody that he can distract. And so I understand that this book, this lesson that I had to learn, you know, yes, my life was destroyed, but I also have life. And so I think about my relationship with God. The material things were gone. Those things don't matter at this
Right.
point in my life. Yes. And so what God wanted to do was give me him. And that's what I needed all the time. I was saved, but my relationship with God now, oh my God, it is so different.
Ah,
It
yeah.
is so different.
Go on, girl. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Yes, Lord, it is so different. The relationship that I have with him now, I've heard people say, my book Love Made Me Wait, and I've heard that message taught before. And I've heard ministers, preachers say that he was late. I beg to differ. God is never late. He's never been late for anything.
No.
His
Mm-mm.
timing is impeccable. He was not late. He just said, wait, I'm
Yeah.
coming, but I'm coming in my own time. And so, yeah, and he was clear. He showed up. He just didn't show up when they wanted him to. And it was the same thing for me. He came, and in the book, when you read it, it was several years later when he showed up, and I'm like, for real?
Yep.
That was my response. You show up now, and by that time, when we allow unforgiveness and bitterness and anger, all of those things, when we allow them to fester, it turns into, there's rejection there. The root cause of all of those things is hurt. And those are the things that I experienced, but he wanted to heal me. He didn't want to leave me there. He said, I
Right.
allowed it to happen, but I don't want to leave you there. I want
Right.
you to experience real healing. And he gave me something that no man can ever do. No physical man, no human. He gave it
Right.
to me.
And I hope you
Yes.
ladies are listening as well as gentlemen, because she was saying that the hurt, the pain, the unforgiveness, and everything was there. God couldn't come at that time. You weren't ready for him. We think we are, and we say, "Hey, come heal me now, come heal me now." But he's saying, "Well, I gotta wait till all that pus come out of you first." And it's
Yes.
like a wound that you have. That if you just keep the pus there, it doesn't heal well. It turns into a really
That's true.
nasty, nasty, nasty wound. But they have to push all that pus out of there before you can really put some good medication on it for it to work. And then after a while, you see the healing coming through. And when God saw that you had got rid of all the pus and the unforgiveness and the blaming of everybody that you felt in your heart, because I know you had to have felt at some time or another other names for the lady, when it first happened and all that stuff. So we all feel that. But as you said, God waited. He wasn't late. He was right on time. He was healing you and let you go through what you have to go through, and so you can get that word. Now, what I like about what you also said in your book, um, ironically, you had to teach.
Yes.
That had to be
Yes. Yes.
crazy, huh, Michelle?
Yes, that was. And at the time, when he gave me that message, he and I, it was recent. We were separated. And the Lord gave me that message. And when I look back, he was preparing me even to write the book at that time because he already knew he wasn't going to show up and give me what I wanted. So he said, I've already given you a word. Okay, the manifestation of it is not coming until years later, but he was preparing me even then. And it shows the sovereignty of God, how he will speak a word into our lives, but the manifestation may not come for time. And it was several years later before Love Made Me Wait was the message that I taught, but the book didn't manifest till several years later. And it just, again, it shows me, no, he was not late. His timing is perfect. He knew what he was
Okay.
doing.
And ironically, you guys, she was teaching about love in the middle of her pain and her hurt.
Yes.
She was dealing with her own situation. And here you are, you say, Lord, you want me to teach
Yes.
about love?
On this, on love to teach at all. I was in such a bad place, and I was talking to the Lord, and I told him, I said, you say that you want me to teach other women. I said, but look at me. You haven't showed up. What kind of word, what kind of hope can I give them? What am I supposed to say? Um, and I've been praying and I've been fasting, turning over my
Right,
plate,
yeah.
and you not saying anything. What kind of word can I have for them? But it just shows again, who God really, really is. He looks beyond all of those things and where I am and said, this is who I've called you to be. This is what I want to do in your life. And in spite of all those things, he used me that day. And again, here we are with Love Made Me Wait several years later.
That was awesome. I mean, that's just, oh my God. In the midst of her pain, God says, I want you to give out a message to my people. So he wanted you to look past your pain. And I think that's what he did at the cross for us. He looked past his
Yes.
pain and looks at the love that he has for us and went on and
Yes.
endured what he went through just so that you and I and so many more people we could have the right to the tree of life today. That is really great. That's, I mean, Michelle, thanks for bringing that point up to us, and that's what I saw when I read it. I said that's what Christ did. He was hurting,
Absolutely.
but he went through it.
Yes. Yes, he did. And love, most of the time we think that when we love that people always give us what we want. And that's not always truth. We'll say, if you love me, you'll give me this. If you love me, you wouldn't do that. But it's not true. Love sometimes it hurts. It is what it is. Sometimes with love, there's pain. Sometimes, with love, again, we have to wait. We don't always get what we want when we want it. But God's love for us, He's proved to me anyway that His love is perfect. And so, with human love, it's a little bit different. We
Right.
fail.
Yes, we do, don't we? I also like the
Yes.
fact that you brought up the point that you brought up was that seemed like nobody noticed your pain, and I was like, now how did she do that? That would have to do a lot with Michelle's personality already and your DNA and who Michelle is. Michelle was going through some things, you guys, and yet the people around her didn't know it. How did you do that?
That was because I'm a very private person. I just am. I don't talk a lot about my business. And so people would ask me how my husband was doing. I haven't seen him in a while. And they would say, how's he doing? And I'd say, fine. Well, actually, he was. I just didn't tell him we weren't together.
Right.
So they didn't know. And it was probably maybe about 2 years that we had been divorced before people actually knew that we weren't
Oh,
together anymore. And they were like, divorced? I didn't even know y'all weren't together because I never told them. And I was able to mask it very, very well. I don't know how, but I did. And I just, I was going through the motions in life. And that was difficult for me because it was like nobody saw me.
hmm I,
That was
I
painful.
I figured it would have to be a part of your personality and who you are. So that's the only way. Somebody like me, they would know. They knew right away when they said, "What day?" I said, "He gone." I put him out. I can't deal with that no more. Oh no, thank you, Jesus. Help me
Mm,
make it through. But you were very quiet
yeah,
about what you were dealing with, and sometimes that is a very good thing. Everybody don't need to know. Sometimes I just need to shut up too, as well. But I'm so proud of you that you did that and went through that. Now, you ladies, that again, you need to get this book. I'm telling you, you have to get this book and put it in your library because I'm gonna tell you everything. But then the love of Jesus shines through our sister Michelle a year later. Everybody, I mean the love of Jesus. It just flowed all the way through her. She let him come back home, and
I
I said,
did.
go ahead on, Michelle. How you do that? What made you do that? How was it to accept him back?
Oh my God, that was very, very difficult for me. I did it more so because of my son.
I figured
I
that. Go
had
ahead, girl.
a Yes, I had a 13-year-old at home, and he wanted his dad to come back. I was numb, at that moment, but it was my marriage. And so I was willing to work it out. I was willing to at least try. And that was a mistake, as you'll find
Right.
out in the book. We're divorced at this point, but yeah, I did. I did let him come back home, and come to find out, this part is not in the book, but she put him out because he was cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so yeah, that was very, very painful for me. And when he came back home, put him right back in the space where he was before. I cooked for him, I cleaned for him. I was trying to be that wife. That was hard. That was hard.
I understand.
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. Yeah. Um, yeah, that wasn't easy at all. But I tried to make it work. But hey, God already knew.
So, what was it that turned the light on and says, "You know what, Father, I know you got something better for me to do."
When I found out he was cheating again. I
Okay.
actually found out, yeah, I found out he was cheating again. And it was just at that point, it was like, I'm just done. And well, he actually filed before I did, but I realized that it was over. But the thing about our relationship, the Lord had already sent a couple of words, and I knew that before the situation happened, before I found out he was cheating, I knew that we were not going to be together. So there have been words that have been coming. I'll share this one particular Sunday. We were in service together, and we were on the front row. And there was a lady there that was ministering, and she asked me to step forward. She said, "Can you step forward for me?" And I stepped forward. She said, "Take 3 steps," and I did. And she said, "I don't know if y'all have ministry together, but I see you. I see God using you in ministry." So that was one word that we got, because I'm thinking, this is my husband. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean
Right.
we don't have ministry together? And there was another word that I got that was maybe about a year before that, that said, I was at a service and the minister said, "I see you being hurt, that everybody in your life that's close is going to walk away from you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
I
going
re-
to be very,
Mhm.
very painful." And it happened. I didn't think it was going to be him, but it happened. And so there were words that I had received. God was trying to prepare me. He starts talking, but a lot of times we don't listen.
Right.
And of
Right.
course, I thought that it was my marriage, but when things began to happen and unfold, I realized that he was warning me all the time, that he knew that my husband wasn't going to stop doing what he was doing, because I'm sure that the Lord had talked to him and said, "Okay." He always
Yeah.
warns us.
Hmm.
Yes, he does. And so, but I thank God for love made me wait. It is it is the first of it really helped me in a lot of areas of my life, putting it on paper.
I am so glad you did, because I can relate to all of that. Especially being one of God's children, He would let you know. He would use the prophets to tell you what's a little bit of what's ahead, and a lot of times we don't understand it right away. My prophecy before we separated was that you're growing faster than him. uh, he was the pastor, and I just kind of go, okay, I'm growing faster than him. All right, And then another lady came through and says, "You're at a much higher level than he is. He's not moving. He's stuck. He's stagnant." And I'm kind of like, "Oh, okay. I'm gonna pray for him. Hopefully, he catch up." So, but
Yes.
um, eventually, yeah, the other woman, everything showed up, and I went like, okay, and I'm so glad though that at that time, I used to be a very violent person, and he was afraid that once I found out there was going to be a fight. But all I did, I did, Sister Michelle. I didn't fight. I had grown enough in Christ that I just packed his clothes and says, you know what? It's time for you to go. That's as simple as that. That's where you want to be. I think that's where you need to be. You gonna do you now. Trust me. I was crying my heart out because I love him just
Absolutely.
that much. But
Yes.
then I could understand the prophecies that had been told to me. And the house that we had, one girl had told me, "You're not going to be in that house long. That's not your house." And I'm going, "Oh, what you talking about? That ain't my house."
Yeah,
God
yeah, I
lets his
understand.
children know.
Yes. Warning. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. He won't do anything in the earth except he reveal it to his prophets first. So yes, 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 yes. He starts speaking.
This
So
is
yes,
really
he's
a great, great, great book, Sister Michelle. We thank you. We're going to get another book coming behind this, right?
yes, we do. There is another book coming, and I'll just give you a title. I'm not going to give you too much of what it's about. And the name of that book is Identity Theft.
Oh, I like that title.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's coming.
Identity theft. That sounds like gonna be a juicy one, y'all. We're going to bring that to Goodreads as well. Uh, you need to
Yes,
have this book in your library. And as the author said, she herself have even read her book again. You can tell mine been used. I got all kinds of markings going on in here and underlining things so that when I go back through, I can find what I'm looking for right away. I'm so glad you shared this with us. I'm glad that you're free. You know, and
yes,
we said we know many times God makes changes in our life, and what we know is always for the better. It's always for the better, and He prays that he His desires that we grow closer to Him. And I know this situation brought you even closer to Christ.
yes, it did. My relationship with God, I tell people now it's solid. My roots run deep. Yeah. So I'm solid in my relationship with God and his love for me. I just, when I tell people, when I talk about the love of God and his love for me, I love him back, but his love for me, oh my God, his love
Yeah,
for me. I know I've experienced the love of God, the presence of God, him showing up. He is my constant. He's my consistent. And I wouldn't be where I am without him. So I'm so glad his love made me wait.
yes. Would you give our listeners or any future writers or somebody out there that's thinking about writing, what advice would you give them before we leave today?
Um, do it. Write your book, journal. I've always been a journaler. I would write things, after I pray, I would write things. And most of the time, I considered them as being letters to God. That's how I wrote them. But if God has pressed upon your heart, to write, if you've been through something, whatever it is that He's given you, it may be poetry, I know people that write poetry. Whatever your story is, somebody has experienced the exact same thing. Even when I wrote my book, I held on to it for several months before, and it was ready to be published. It was ready for me to release it, but I was afraid of rejection. I didn't know what people were going to say, how they were going to take it. And my publisher finally said, Michelle, what are we doing? It was ready like in June and I didn't release it till like December. He says, what are you doing? It was ready. But I was afraid of what people were going to say because, in the book, I'm very transparent about what I was feeling, where I was, anger, uh, you know, some of the things that I prayed about myself. I didn't want to be in this place. I wanted to lose my mind. I was very transparent about those things, and I didn't know how people were going to view me. But it's my story. It is a part of who I am, and those experiences shaped me. and somebody else can benefit from your story. So I say to you, if God has impressed upon you, put it on paper. And you can call me. I have some people that can help you with editing and publishing and all of those things. I can't because they're helping me, but I have some people that can help you with that.
Well, I'll be more than glad to give y'all the information to get in touch with Miss Drew in case you don't have somebody to help you with that. We want to thank you so much for being with us today. We didn't even do any commercials. I was so excited about talking to you. You know, we're glad Pastor Piggy did it at the beginning, and we're probably going to do some commercials at the end. But I was so caught up in speaking to you, I didn't even think about that. So thank you so much, Sister Michelle, for being here with us here at DLM Media Network. And baby, we're going to do another segment later on and do that last little portion of your book, you know, and I'm looking forward to the identity thing going on that you got the next
Yes,
one.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And we will be
I am
glad.
excited to be here.
We want to help you out as much as we possibly can. Please don't never hesitate to call me and say, Miss Linda, this is what I got. Can you help me? And if we can, here at DLM Media Network will be more than glad to do just that. Thank you one more time for being here with us. May God continue to bless you and guide you and protect you and pour his spirit into you.
I receive that in Jesus' name.
Well, everybody, we're going to go, and I hope that you enjoyed this segment with our sister Michelle Drew. We got a chance to talk to her. You got a chance to see some of the things that hear about some of the things that she's gone through, and her encouraging words to you is don't be afraid. Go ahead on and step on out by faith. If God has given it to you to share with us, please share it, because there's people out there that needs that word. They need to know that all is going to be well and that they're not the only ones that's going through those changes in church. That when Michelle and I and so many more know exactly where you are. So as I always say, Pastor Piggies, we're going to turn it over into your hands, let you take us home. And thank you, everyone. Remember what I tell you, I don't care what you're going through. Always charge the air. Let the enemy know he's a lie, that all is well.
Ladies of all ages, if you love God and have a passion for worship through music, the 2025 She Rises Virtual Women in Music Ministry Conference is for you. This event is designed for mothers, wives, daughters and aunts, cousins, nieces, pastors, praise leaders and dancers, church members, and even those with no church affiliation. If you are a woman with a heart for music ministry or a desire to connect and grow with others in the field, this conference is just for you. It's led by Dr. Natalie Pegg, as founder of the National Gospel Songwriters Conference. She and the board of directors invite you to take your vision to the new heights of excellence. Together, we will embark on a spiritual journey, awakening the God-given gifts within us. Click the link to register today. I can't wait to see you virtually at the 2025 She Rises Women in Music Ministry Conference. And it's happening April 28th and 29th, 2025. That's right. Click the link. Register today. Can't wait to see you. And God bless you. Wow, I do hope you enjoyed today's readings. But until next time, I want you to focus and remember God is still in control. Be blessed. Have a great day. Wow, I do hope you enjoyed today's readings. But until next time, I want you to focus and remember God is still in control. Be blessed. Have a great day.